Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Forex with a free S&P analysis for you for the New York trading session dated Monday, 16th of August. Just a quick look before we start at an historical chart, a monthly chart going back to end of 1999. This is where cycle degree wave 5 ended with a slight truncation within it. Thereafter, an ABC for cycle A, ABC for cycle B, which is a 106% correction of A, and we're working now on cycle C to the downside. A likely target for cycle C is where it will reach 1.618, the length of A, which would see the S&P get down to 344.09, but that's a few years away yet. Within primary degree waves, we've got 5 waves down for primary 1 and a triple zigzag combination up for primary 2. It seems reasonable to expect primary 3 is likely to be at least 0.618, the length of A, in the first instance, so our initial target for the downside, 658, although it's likely to be longer than that. Taking you now to a daily chart, where this maroon 2 and black Z up here is this maroon 2 and black Z, and here's the beginning of primary 3, with a 5 waves down for minor 1, an ABC rare running flat correction for minor 2, working on minor 3 or blue 3 to the downside. Now this has begun to the downside. We should not expect to see any movement above 1129.9. Our first target in the first instance, mid to long term target 948 points, is where blue or minor wave 3 will reach equality with wave 1. Thereafter, 835.59 is where blue wave 3 will reach 1.618, the length of this blue wave 1. Taking you now to an alley chart where this pink C and blue 2, or at least this blue 2, is up here, and here's our recent downwards movement. We can see a nice 5-wave structure complete to the downside now. I had a target for Monday's expected downwards movement. I had a little target zone. The upper end was 107.6. Price managed to get just 1 point above that to 1068.6. Thereafter, we had a trend change back to the upside, a little bit of upwards movement here. But this is not the orthodox end of green wave 1. This is the orthodox end. I have this nice 5 waves down for 1, ABC up for 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down for 3, ABC up for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down for 5, and then 2 green is an expanded flat correction with a 3-wave structure for A, 3 waves for B, and working on C to the upside now. This wave B is a 118% correction of this A. We could reasonably expect wave C to reach 1.618, the length of A, really common relationship between the two for an expanded flat, which would take the S&P up to 1089.15. So that's how I've got that first side of that target zone. The other end of the target zone, 1093.44, is simply the 0.382 Fibonacci ratio of this drop here, ending at this point here. And this target zone also very nicely encompasses the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree at 1091.4. So with those 3 points coinciding quite closely and clustered together, this zone up here, this area up here, is a highly likely place for this wave 2 correction to end. Because the overall pressure downwards is really strong, just going back to the daily, this is a running flat correction. This C wave failed to reach beyond the end of A. The most common type of flat correction is an expanded flat, and running flat correction is really rare. You're only going to see it when the overall trend, in this case downwards, the overriding trend is very strong, tends to skew the direction in the direction of the major trend. Sorry, it tends to skew the correction in the direction of the major trend. So in this instance, the trend is really strongly down. There's a lot of downwards pressure, so I would not be at all surprised if we have a shallow second wave correction. Second waves can and often do correct to very deep degrees, but in this instance, I'd be looking at a shallower correction rather than a deeper correction. And with this confluence of these 3 points up here, that gives us a fairly high probability. That second wave at green degree may very well be quite brief. It may be over fairly quickly. It's not that far away, that little upwards target. When that's done and we can see a nice 5-wave structure for wave C within this second wave, Look out for a trend change again, some really strong downwards movement coming up as we enter a third wave. That's all for me with your S&P analysis, and I hope everyone had a really fabulous weekend.